Good morning, people. Today we're going for a walk. It's a wet morning, but I decided I'm going to actually be vlogging every day, like almost every day. I'm going to consider this like a job. Yep. So I might as well, right? These puddles on the ground here, they're reminding me of a hero that we have. His name is actually Eric, and he is doing such an amazing job. So basically, now Kenya has a new hero. One of the good things, that comes out of all the sad things that happen in life is that in the end, still, Kenya gets heroes. There's a young man who has decided to go out on a boat rescuing Kenyans who are stuck in flood situations. Here we are. Basically, the Kenya government has been so slow in helping Kenyans who are stuck. Helping Kenyans, whose lives are actually affected by the floods. And these waters are no respecter of money. Doesn't matter whether you're in a nice neighborhood, whether you're in the slums, wherever you are, you're not safe. Once a dam decides to burst or a river decides to burst its banks, let me tell you, Maina, doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't. Really doesn't. You could be in the most beautiful estate. I hear there's this estate called Crystal something estate around at the river area. And so many people are sitting on top of their rooftops in $1 million houses. Like $1 million houses. Just the same way as those ones who are sitting on their rooftops on shacks. Doesn't matter, because once the river bursts its banks, doesn't matter what house you're in. Now my question is to the government of Kenya, what are they thinking? What is this government actually seriously thinking? What? Do we really, the failure of African governments is to expect that people are going to come and rescue us. Why don't they think of building drainage systems before? What about all this early warning systems?
All right, thank you for staying with the Daybreak. The State of the Nation discussion starts right now. We talk about matters, politics, and everything in between there. Let me introduce my guest one more time, starting from my farthest right, Dr. Kuru Okot, the Third Way Alliance. Thank you for making time.
Thanks, Trevor.
Honorable Geoffrey Ruku is here, Mbeere North Member of Parliament. Asante sana for making time.
Thank you, Trevor.
And Honorable Dan Manzo, Senator for Makueni. Thank you very much for making time. Let's start with the dailies, and there's a lot about the floods. There's floods nightmare, and also there's deaths, massive losses as floods cause havoc there. And I'll start with you, Dr. Kuru. Is the government doing enough to deal with these floods?
Actually, you cannot use that sentence enough with the behavior of government. Government is doing nothing to deal with floods. There are a lot of things that government could do. In fact, what this means, Trevor, is that we now need to begin to question some of the institutions, agencies of government that are tasked with matters, disaster preparedness and management. You realize there is actually an office with a full budget in the office of the president, if I'm not wrong, called Disaster Preparedness and Management, I think. Either.
NDMA, National Disaster Management.
Yes, National, yeah, exactly. And therefore, these floods is not a new thing in the history of Kenya. It almost comes, if not every year, almost every 3 years or 5 years thereabout. So we now need to ask the question, to what extent is government preparing for any disasters or whatever, whether it is floods, whether it is famine and drought. For example, now we know the patterns on famine and drought is almost every 5 years. Flooding, I think since the issues of El Nino, it's almost coming every 1 year. We know, for example, River Nyando bursts almost every year in Kisumu side, and we've seen what's happening. So, and also, there are some promises that were made. For example, I wish you had invited our governor, Sakaja, here for Nairobi, to also tell us where are the boats that I had they had been procured that could actually help people in this rescue mission. So, I think, Trevor, frankly speaking, we are getting our priorities wrong in this country in terms of really fixing the problems that afflict the people of Kenya today, and that's why for me, I still believe that I know maybe it's not a topic you want us to discuss today. If you look at, for example, the focus of government on the chief administrative secretaries and the cost that comes to it, you can imagine what that money will have done, for example, in alleviating the suffering of people from this flooding. I'm sure now homes will be destroyed. This is a disaster. And I'm sure after maybe these floods are gone, Kenya, our government will at least step in to say, okay, you lost property. Can we even build you a temporary shelter?
Trevor, we have to ask ourselves which government. We have two levels of government in the Republic of Kenya. We have the county government as well as the national government. So we have to ask ourselves which government is going to be blamed as far as the things which are affecting the funds affecting the common man.
Anyway, let me not rant. This is where we are, guys. In the world, it looks like this weather is so unpredictable these days. Actually, so many countries are affected. China is affected. Dubai is affected. Kenya. And I wondered to myself, how come some countries seem to be spared all the pain, you know? Do you know today, I think I saw that the SGR, which is the train service, it's halted operations between Nairobi, Mombasa. Yeah, that's the situation. Yeah. Guys, today I was listening to Steve Jobs and he had some very good advice. He was actually talking at a graduation. People drive very recklessly, so I really have to watch what I'm doing. Yeah. Whoa. You see how people drive so close? They don't give a damn. So I'm not going to be on this road very long. I'm going to move. So anyway, I was listening to Steve Jobs and he was saying that he had three things to say at a graduation. The first thing he wanted to talk about is the fact that he never completed university, but he actually quit after about a year of university. He quit. And why did he quit? He quit because his parents were using a lot of their savings for his university education, and he didn't see the point of it. And so he decided to just quit university, but he decided to go to classes. You know, you can actually go to class, and even if you're not paying for them, but you can end up doing the exams. So he went to different classes, and one of his classes that he went to was a calligraphy class. You know, where you're taught how to write beautiful letters and things like that. And that particular class actually came to be very useful later on in his career when he developed the Apple computer. You see, the problem of people not actually creating any place for people to walk carefully, and people are looking at me very curiously, wondering what I'm talking about. So anyway, so he went to this calligraphy class because he could select what he wanted to do. Learned writing skills, different types of writing and their history and things like that. So Steve Jobs, basically the first thing he told those students, the graduates, is that he never completed college. But he was not telling them that to discourage them from going to school. He was just telling them that he was following his dream and his path. The second thing he told them is that he established a company called Apple, which became very, very, very successful. But he was actually fired from his own company eventually. Imagine, guys, you start a company with a friend, and then, which is very possible. You know how partnerships are. You start a company, and then all of a sudden your vision is different. Guys are driving extremely dangerously. I've never seen that in my life. So crazy. I'm going to turn around, guys. So he was fired from his own company when the board of directors decided to vote against him, and he ended up getting fired from the company. Yeah. Which is so sad. So when he was fired from his company, it was like the lowest point of his life. Imagine you establish a company and then you get fired from it. I mean, that is so horrible, isn't it? It's really horrible, isn't it? And he went and he established another company that, what was it doing? It was actually the company that developed the first animated movie. And that animated movie is called Toy Story. So, in the end, you see, Toy Story is a Steve Jobs it's a Steve Jobs output. Yeah. Toy Story is actually a Steve Jobs creation. I didn't even know about that. Toy Story was a mega movie. So, he said that in the end, he ended up rejoining Apple after that. And after he rejoined Apple, Apple became even more successful after he lost his job because he actually learned a lot of things from it. Can you see the water, guys? Oh my God, it's crazy. Look at that. See, look at the water. Look at the way it's pooling everywhere. It's become everybody's washing place. Hapa ndio mnaosha osha. See, it's okay. Yeah. Habari ya kazi yenu, mko na kazi mingi sahi? Juu ya mvua. Unaweza salimia watu wangu kidogo. 1 second. They are called African Queen Mode channel. Just to say hi and tell people to keep safe. Your name is Robert? Really? That's nice. Let me come this other side.
So mimi naambiwa wase wakiwa kwetu safe.
Wako safe?
Yeah. Au panatusumbua sana hapa hapo na hapo.
Oh, mtu anaweza ingia hapo ndani.
Kinyesha watu inakuwa rare sana watu kupita hapo.
Thank you so much. Enjoy. Okay. Okay, guys, I just did an interview with Robert, and Robert is telling me that I was telling him to be careful with his motorbike because when they try to overtake on the side, for example, there's a lot of traffic, they can actually end up falling in. And he told me this specific area right here is one such place where if you try to get off the road, you might actually end up falling in. So this is the problem here with the floods. Yeah? It's our area and it's flooding, but he said it's not so bad. But you can see the skies, it's horrific. Now, the third thing that happened is that the third thing he talked about, okay, the first thing he said was what? Was that he dropped out of college. The second thing he said was what? Was that he lost his job. He was fired from his own company. So the third thing that happened is that he was given a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer that was very severe and very, what do we call those cancers? There's a word I'm looking for, and it's gone because I've got so much distraction around me. But anyway, it's the kind of cancer that is very fast, very rapid. And so he was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer, and he knew that he has just a few days to live. So he said the third thing that he said that everybody should be aware of is the fact that the one thing that we are all promised is death. We will all die at some point. Yeah? You've seen so many people have lost their lives. We've just lost a wonderful person who is a general of, the CDF, yeah, of the forces. We've also lost so many people. People have died from these floods. It's been really, really sad. We've lost a lot of lives. Thousands of people have been displaced by the floods, And so, basically Steve Jobs was saying that the one equalizer and the one thing we're all promised and the one thing that we will never escape is death. Doesn't matter what you have. Doesn't matter how rich you are. Doesn't matter whether you're a king, queen, or whoever you are. You are promised one day we shall die. So he said that the worst thing to do is to spend your whole life living other people's dreams, yeah? That's the worst thing you could do, is spend your whole life living other people's dreams. So go for what you enjoy. Yeah, don't be afraid to pursue your goals, to pursue the things that you enjoy. This life is to be enjoyed. And actually, that's why you see me as a mature YouTuber walking around with my camera because I completely agree with that. And I totally understand where he's coming from. That life is for the living, life is to be lived. Yes, we will go through tragedies, we will lose people that we love, people will die, but we are supposed to continue to enjoy this life. We were brought brought to this world to enjoy this life. That's my teaching for you. And now I'm heading back. Today's vlog is actually talking about living your life to the fullest and doing the things that you enjoy. Not living other people's dreams, living your own dreams. How about that, guys? See, that's cool. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, let's live according to our desires. To say that my niece was like doing the best in this school. She did the best. I think she was number one in maths, then number one in Swahili. She's that smart, And now she's in the US doing well for herself, but she's an engineer. Smart girl, very young, homeowner. Let me tell you, you can come from a very humble beginning and be somebody in life. Just depends on yourself. You see, like for example, she was very academically oriented. Talking about doing what you enjoy doing. She was very academically oriented. She liked to read. She liked to memorize. She liked to, study and do well in exams. And that's a path that she pursued. She pursued engineering. And then when you look at people like my son is very different. He's an artist. He's artistic. He's also very smart though. He has high IQ, very high EQ, emotional intelligence. And I knew from the beginning that this one did not like academics. He used to feel just like me, restricted. Even if he could learn, even if he knew how to do things. In fact, he was much better at maths than I ever was, But even if all that, he was not actually interested in that. So what I did, I took my son to a school where he could learn different things, like computers. So instead of doing the path called the A levels, he did another thing called the B Tech, business and technology. That was actually the best decision that we ever made, to be honest. It was the best decision. Yeah, the best. Because in the end, he ended up studying what he wanted. Thank you, my dear. Will you allow me to come in? Thank you. How are you? By the way, I have a YouTube channel. I hope you're going to subscribe. It's called African Queen Mo. African Queen Mo Cardiff. Cardiff, yeah? Cardif, because that's where I'm based in the UK. Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, yeah. So guys, I'm telling you, yeah, you should pursue the things that you enjoy. So like I told you, my son did B Tech and now he's an IT person. Doing really well and enjoying himself in his field. It doesn't mean that everybody has to be, an academic. You don't have to go that field because we need people doing different things, yeah, in life. So those of you who feel maybe you didn't do well in exams, or maybe you didn't pursue an academic career, or maybe you're in the wrong field, it's never too late to change. You can do it. If I'm doing it, why not you? All right, yet another long video. My videos are always long, but I try to be as informative as possible to make it worth your time. Okay, guys? So much love to you, and believe it or not, it's already starting to rain. So God bless you. Take care now. Bye-bye.